Alright, everyone, good morning. Welcome to Friday's show. We're edging towards the weekend, Sunday's big game against Hibs. It's been a bit of a meander through this week, it's fair to say, but we're gradually getting there. What are we? Just a little bit over 2 days, is that right? Friday morning. Just over 2 days until kick-off against Hibs. The stadium is filling up, not literally, just in terms of people buying their seats. Hibs have now got 6,900 of their tickets sold, so they're going to be heading for a 7,000 sellout in the away end. And the entire lower tier of the rest of the stadium at Celtic Park is sold out as well, with only single tickets available in the upper tier. So we're actually heading for a sellout, an actual sellout here, where every seat is going to be taken, and I for one can't wait for it. That's probably the last time I'll actually mention Sunday's game today. It's been the longest build-up to a Celtic match I can remember in a wee while. So I'll keep whatever is left of my powder, which isn't much admittedly, I'll keep that dry for tomorrow's video and we can get into the predicted 11. That'll be really interesting, and talk about Brendan Rodgers' press conference, which is going to happen later today. I've got a few other things to talk about today. Celtic going to war with the support, or sections of the support, maybe the first thing that we tackle. I know there was a fair bit of feedback on yesterday's video, as expected, when I spoke about the pyro, and I should really know better given my own thoughts and stuff is obviously going to frustrate some people and get other people right on my side. We had comments, Stringology, McHugh. I don't know what people don't get about pyrotechnics, including you, Hamish. There are lots of asthmatic... There are lots of I can't say that word. There are lots of One more go. There are lots of asthmatic fans in the crowd, including old and young. So for me and others, please understand it's not only an inconvenience, it's a health issue. I would appreciate if you raised that point in future videos. Yes, 100%. To be fair, I did mention that in yesterday's video. I said that I'm in like a pretty privileged position, not being asthmatic, not having kind of any breathing related issues, and I totally get that not everyone's like that, so I take your point fully. And yeah, it's like pyro's a really divisive issue. I should probably, as I say, know better than bringing it up and being so forthright. I don't know what I'd had to drink yesterday. Anyway, let's move on and talk about far more exciting matters, like yet another Celtic statement based on section of the support, this time for the use of banners at recent matches. I'm not going to read out the full statement this time round because I kind of regretted that yesterday, and it's also a bit longer than yesterday's. The main points here are the club saying that fan displays should support the team or otherwise celebrate Celtic and be consistent with the terms of the Celtic social charter, social mission statement, and other terms that apply to all supporters' enjoyment at Celtic. They say that there's a protocol in place for banners and displays at Celtic matches, not just at Celtic Park, but Hampden and away grounds as well. And these banners, displays are required to be pre-approved by the club, which is something I'm a little bit surprised at, to be honest. But that apparently is the case. However, the club say there have been instances in the past weeks where the protocol has not been followed. We've had unauthorised banners which have not been submitted for pre-approval displayed at Celtic Park. It's fascinating stuff, this, really riveting. This is obviously in relation to the Green Brigade and some recent banners that they've had that it's fair to say have veered away from the football stuff. But yeah, the club will probably have received a fair amount of complaints from people. And this statement is probably likely in response to that. It's potentially so they can direct people complaining towards a statement and they're seen to be doing something. So yeah, all of that stuff, as I say, is fascinating. Personally, for on the pitch stuff, I just really hope that everyone can be united at this stage. Where going forward into a big game on Sunday, things are really good. It's hard to imagine things being much better at Celtic. When you look at how things have gone this season, Europe was a success. We've won the League Cup. We're going to win the league, the Scottish Cup for the treble. Even, like, let's face it, our rivals imploding is pretty good as well. Like, things are good on the pitch, off the pitch. But you just always feel with Celtic, and I don't know if it's always been like this, but certainly in recent years, that we've never been far away from like some sort of controversy or falling out or war between the club and sections of the support. So I hope we can park all the off-field drama and just move on. Let's move on to on-the-pitch stuff then. It's hard to have anything negative to say about this guy. Daizen Maeda has been named the Scottish Premiership Player of the Month for February. It was a great month for him. He scored 6 league goals during the month, plus a hat-trick in the Scottish Cup against Wraith Rovers. He also scored in our first leg defeat to Bayern Munich in the Champions League. A couple of assists there as well, I think both at Fir Park. So he's clearly having the best time he's had probably in his career, certainly at Celtic so far. 27 years old, really in his peak years, Daizen Maeda, and just deserves everything positive that's coming his way right now. I mean, I've like all right the way through his Celtic career, even when he was frustrating people at the start, I loved him because he just always, like, and this is such a basic thing to say, but he gave his all and he absolutely ran himself into the ground, and it's so easy to take to someone like that who is clearly given their absolute all for the club. And I know I was going to say that's all we ask as supporters. It's not, because if we're honest, we ask for quality as well. And I mean, we want teams to win and play good football and that kind of stuff. But at the very basic level, seeing someone applying themselves like Daizen Maeda does and did in his early days at the club was just amazing to me. I always remember that. I think it was his first derby match at Ibrox, the one that we won 2-1 under Ange. And he was brilliant that day. He didn't score, but he was just outstanding off the left-hand side. And clearly this year under Brendan Rodgers, his game has just gone on to a new level, a much higher level. His first touch is much better. He very rarely does the whole kicking the ball out the park thing anymore. It's like far more quality in his game. And, you know, when he's got that quality on the ball, as in addition to his just unrivaled work ethic, he's just a hell of a player. And it's a point that's been made a fair bit recently. I was speaking to John about it on the Celtic Way last week, and I think one or two of our commenters in recent weeks have said it as well. But something that's probably overlooked about Daizen Maeda is his intelligence. He knows where to be, he knows when to press, he knows where the ball is going to go, and we've seen that to great effect in recent weeks. So absolutely love him. Cannot wait to see him back in action, tormenting Hibs on Sunday. Okay, just before we move on and talk financial matters, bit of a UEFA report, very exciting stuff. Today's Celtic AM show has been created in collaboration with NordVPN. If you don't know what a VPN is, they allow you to change your online location so you can stream whether you're at home or travelling. So if you're living abroad like me, which I know a lot of you will be, or heading on holiday soon, like I hope a lot of you are, and you don't want to miss the brilliant analysis from Chris Boyd on Sky Sports. Oh, Hamish, try and sell this a bit better. Chris Sutton, I don't know, various other things. You can use NordVPN to stay in the UK while you're not in the UK. It's one of the benefits of a VPN. You can also use it in stuff like Netflix, Amazon Prime, so you get different shows in different countries. Even if you're just based in the UK and aren't going on holiday, they also help you online to be safer, protect you from prying eyes online by changing your IP addresses to keep you safer. They have a brilliant offer for Celtic AM viewers and listeners right now. You can get up to 72% off NordVPN's 2-year plans, as well as 6 months free, just by clicking the link at the top of the description. So if you're after a VPN, now is the time to check it out. Link in the description, everyone. The other thing I wanted to talk about today was Celtic coming out and looking pretty good in a big report, big financial report that was released by UEFA yesterday, Thursday. It's the European Club Finance and Investment Landscape Report, to give it its full name, and it was released yesterday. You may have seen it being spoken about online. I think Sky Sports covered it, BBC, The Athletic. I've managed to find the report. Worryingly, it does have embargo written over some of the pages. I doubt UEFA would do anything, would they? They're not going to come after Celtic AM. Anyway, this is, again, probably better watched and listened to in the podcast, but I will do my best to explain things. The first headline here, and I've basically gone through this and just looked for the Celtic badge, and obviously that means we're included somewhere. We are among the top 10 clubs in Europe in terms of largest pre-tax profits recorded in 2024. So largest pre-tax profits for the whole of Europe, we are in the top 10, and actually, what is that, 7th? Can't really see. Yeah, I think that's 7th. So yeah, I mean, we're sandwiched between Lille and Atalanta, pre-tax profit of €21 million. That's £17.6 million in 2024. 3 big Bundesliga clubs there too, Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, and our good friends Eintracht Frankfurt. And I guess it just shows how well Celtic are being run, in contrast to many of the clubs on the left-hand side who you'd probably pick out, and if you were asked which clubs are being run badly in recent times, you would say the likes of Manchester United and Chelsea and Paris Saint-Germain and teams like that. So the fact Celtic have such good figures and are having success on the pitch, I think is a huge credit to certain people at the club. The other one I want to bring up is that we sit in the top 20 for kit and merch revenue. Now again, this is your biggest clubs in Europe and the world. You've got all the big dogs, kind of in order of probably size of club, maybe. I may offend some people there. But yeah, the biggest clubs on the right-hand side, Real Madrid, Bayern, Barcelona, Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, etc. Notice I missed out Tottenham Hotspur. And then we're actually sitting here again in 17th, and this is money made for kit and merch, €35 million, which is just a crazy figure. When you go back 5 years, that was at €21 million. 10 years ago, it was 17 million. I think Adidas have had a fair bit to do with this. It's clearly been a really beneficial relationship for both parties, all parties there. But I think it also shows the power of Celtic, and notable to me that while you do have the big 6 clubs in England, and they're all in the top 11 places here, other English clubs are nowhere to be seen. Celtic making more money from merchandise and kit sales than the likes of Aston Villa, Newcastle, West Ham, which I guess shows the appeal we have. I find it not surprising because we all know that we're much bigger clubs than these, but the fact that even when they've got the glamour of playing in the English Premier League worldwide, obviously a much bigger league worldwide than our wee league, the power of Celtic is still so high that we're inside the top 20 here. So yeah, if you're buying kits, etc., you're certainly playing your part in Celtic having a lot of money. So fair play to you. Just finally, talking about Scotland here, TV revenue up 20% from a year prior. It's up to €32 million. That's just shy of £27 million. Scotland are 16th in Europe, which I think should be a lot higher than that, but that's for another day, talking about TV stuff. The total revenue for Scottish clubs is €357 million, which is up 14%, and places Scotland 11th in the continent. We're up to 7th in terms of gate receipts, so €130 million there. That's up from the previous cycle as well, and it just shows how reliant Scottish football is on fans actually going to games. So yeah, just generally speaking, Scottish football kind of doing all right, I guess. Celtic's certainly in a really good place. If you want a full rundown of the Celtic's UEFA Champions League financial figures, how much we made from this season's competition, and also a bit of chat about coefficients and how we're placed for next season's tournament, then I did a video, I think a week today, while I was in Adelaide. It's linked above. It's with the help of Swiss Ramble's brilliant figures and charts and all of that stuff. But I quite enjoyed doing that and looking into the figures. Basically, the upshot here is that Celtic have a lot of money, and money coming from different places as well. Or you've got clubs down south that the vast majority of their money would be made up by the TV deal, the money that we don't really have access to at all. I think Celtic now have money coming from a lot of different places in terms of, obviously the Champions League makes up a huge part of it. but season ticket money is just strong. Season tickets sell out every year, and that wasn't the case 10, 15 years ago. And clearly the club are making so much money from merch and kit sales as well in partnership with Adidas. So yeah, and I think if the good stuff continues on the pitch and the club keep pushing forward and trying to realise the potential that we all feel Celtic have, then all of this stuff is just going to increase as well. The interest is going to become even more. Tickets are going to become even harder to come by. So things are good, and now we can start to build ahead to the big game against Hibs on Sunday. So looking forward to that. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, everyone, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow morning.